Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring the evolution of Minecraft's update Aquatic.
Ooh, very cool.
Yeah. Um, Specifically, we're going to be looking at the changes that were introduced in the snapshots leading up to the 1.13 release.
Wow.
And you know what's great is you've provided us with this awesome collection of patch notes,
That's right.
which is perfect because it allows us to really see how this major update took shape over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're going to be talking about new mobs, underwater exploration.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, maybe even a few surprises along the way. So are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's start with snapshot 18W02A. Now, one of the first things that jumps out at me here is this shift from .lang to .json for translation files.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one.
I know it sounds kind of technical, but trust me, this is a really big deal, especially for players who speak different languages.
It is, because it allowed translators to use multiple lines of text for their translations.
Oh.
So before this change, a lot of the translations were kind of crammed into a single line, which made them sound a little bit awkward.
Yeah, for sure.
But with Dyson, they could actually make the translations much more accurate and natural sounding.
So it's really all about making the game more accessible.
Absolutely. And I think it's a great example of how a seemingly small technical change can have a huge impact on the player experience.
Totally. And alongside this change, we also see them kind of tinkering with the execute command, making it more powerful and user-friendly.
Oh, yeah, much more versatile.
Can you give us an example of what they might have been doing with that?
Well, imagine being able to teleport players to very specific locations within a build.
Oh, cool.
Like, say you built this epic underwater palace, right?
Mm,
You could use execute to teleport players directly to the throne room.
that's awesome.
Yeah, giving map makers a lot more control over the player experience.
Wow, that's really cool. All right, so moving on to snapshot 18W10D.
Okay.
This one feels like the moment where the update Aquatic truly starts to take shape.
Yeah, for sure.
We get buried treasure, which, come on, who doesn't love a good treasure hunt?
Classic.
Right? We get our first glimpse of those vibrant tropical fish that would soon fill the oceans.
Yeah, those were amazing.
And with map markers, exploring the vast oceans becomes a lot less daunting.
So true. No more getting hopelessly lost at sea.
I can't tell you how many times I've gotten lost at sea in Minecraft.
Yeah, me too.
But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows in this snapshot.
Oh.
We also got some changes to phantoms. Now, I remember these guys being a bit, well, let's just say their model and texture needed some work.
Yeah, they were a little rough around the edges, weren't they?
Yeah, a little bit derpy looking, if I'm being honest.
This snapshot gave them a much-needed visual overhaul, though.
Okay, good.
They started despawning during the day, too, which was a nice change.
Yeah, because before they would just hang around all the time.
Yeah, a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so snapshots 18W10B and 18W10's things start to get even more interesting.
Ooh, what happens?
We see new blocks and sounds emerge like the building blocks of this incredible underwater world.
Cool.
And then we get the first whispers of those groundbreaking water physics.
That's where things really started to change.
Can you talk a little bit about what was happening with those early water physics?
Yeah, so in 18W10C, they introduced the ability to place water in blocks like stairs and slabs and fences.
So no more awkward air pockets.
Exactly. No more awkward air pockets in your partially submerged builds. It was a huge improvement for builders.
It's like they were teaching the water how to behave.
Yeah, to flow naturally within the game world.
And part of that involved removing the flowing water and flowing lava blocks in the snapshot.
Right.
Right.
And that might seem like a small technical detail, but it actually had a big impact.
Yeah.
It simplified the code, and it allowed for a much more fluid and realistic simulation of water.
Oh, wow.
And by 18W10D, water could even flow through certain blocks, creating all sorts of interesting possibilities for underwater design.
Like what kind of possibilities?
Well, imagine waterfalls cascading down the sides of your underwater base,
Ooh, I like that.
or hidden currents swirling around your secret lair.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it really opened up a lot of creative possibilities.
So cool. Then snapshot 18W11A arrives and, well, it makes a splash, literally.
What happened?
We get shipwrecks emerging from the depths.
Oh, shipwrecks.
Offering tantalizing glimpses of past adventures and, of course, the promise of loot.
Of course.
And alongside those sunken treasures, we also encounter a new hostile mob, the Drowned.
Right. Those guys were tough.
Yeah. Armed with tridents, they add a touch of danger to your underwater explorations.
Yeah, they definitely made things more challenging.
It's like they were creating a living, breathing ecosystem with its own challenges and rewards.
Absolutely.
And to help players navigate this new underwater world, 18W11A also introduced a super handy feature,
What?
the F3+C shortcut for copying coordinates.
Oh, yeah, that was a lifesaver.
So before we dive deeper into the next set of snapshots, I want to ask you, what about these early editions stands out to you most?
You know what's fascinating to me is how the developers were juggling multiple goals simultaneously.
Okay.
Like they were laying the foundation for these incredible new features,
Right.
but they were also taking the time to refine existing mechanics.
Like the commands and the translations.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It shows a remarkable attention to detail and a commitment to making the game better on every level.
Yeah, it's like they were weaving together a tapestry, carefully considering each thread and how it contributes to the overall picture.
Yeah, a beautiful tapestry of underwater goodness.
So are you ready to see what surprises await us in the mid-development snapshot?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
I have a feeling things are about to get even more interesting.
I can't wait. Welcome back to our deep dive into Minecraft's Update Aquatic. We're about to jump into the mid-development snapshots,
Ooh, yeah, things are going to start heating up here.
where the update really starts to take shape.
I remember reading about these back when they were first released and being like, this is going to change everything.
It did. It really did.
All right, so let's start with 18W14B. We get Phantom Membrane,
Oh, yeah, that was huge.
which, let's be honest, was a lifesaver for anyone who loved using their Elytra.
Totally. No more frantic searching for phantoms in the middle of the night.
Or having to build those like crazy contraptions just to like farm them.
Oh, yeah, those were a pain.
Right. And speaking of lifesavers, we also get the Potion of Slow Falling in this snapshot.
Yes, perfect for those high-altitude mishaps.
It's like a parachute in a bottle.
Exactly. It gives players a much more graceful way to descend from those great hikes.
And it wasn't all about practical items in this snapshot either. They added some really cool new advancements.
Like what?
Well, there's one called a throwaway joke for throwing a trident.
Uh-huh. I remember that one.
You can really sense the developers having some fun there.
A little bit of humor goes a long way.
And we also get sea pickles in this snapshot.
Ah, yes, the bioluminescent wonders of the deep.
They might seem like a small addition, but they actually had a big impact on underwater decoration.
Yeah, their quirky little glow added a lot of character.
And it wasn't just about adding new things. This snapshot also addressed some long-standing issues.
Like what?
Well, for example, the way waterlogged blocks were destroyed.
Oh, yeah, that was annoying.
Before, if you broke a waterlogged block, both the block and the water would disappear.
Right, which made it really difficult to build anything underwater.
But in 18W14B, they changed that so that only the block gets destroyed, leaving the water intact.
It's better.
A small change, but it made a huge difference for builders.
It's all about the details.
Right. And while we're talking about details, we have to mention the changes to Riptide in this snapshot.
Ah, yes, Riptide.
It became much more powerful, capable of launching the player through the air with their trident.
Yeah, they removed its compatibility with loyalty and channeling, but I think the trade-off was worth it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Suddenly, players could soar through the air like a superhero.
This was a really cool addition.
Then we get to 18W15A, and, well, it's like the floodgates open.
Well, what happens?
We get dolphins, conduits, blue ice, the heart of the sea, the nautilus shell.
Wow, it's a lot.
It's almost overwhelming.
It's like they unleashed a tidal wave of new content.
Dolphins completely changed how players interacted with the ocean.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They weren't just a new mob. They felt like companions, like underwater pets.
I loved swimming alongside them.
And conduits opened up new possibilities for deep-sea exploration.
With their powerful beams of light and their ability to grant underwater breathing.
It's like having a portable underwater base.
Exactly. And this snapshot didn't just add things, it also refined the core mechanics of underwater exploration.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, they overhauled underwater vision, making it clearer and more immersive.
Ooh, nice.
They introduced biome-specific watercolors, adding visual variety to different ocean environments.
So cool.
And they made swimming smoother and more intuitive, which really enhanced the overall feel of being underwater.
It's like they were crafting a whole new sensory experience. It's exactly.
And then in 18W16A, they gave players even more control over their world generation with the introduction of the Buffet World type.
Ah, yes, Buffet Worlds.
Now, for those who aren't familiar, Buffet Worlds allow players to customize the terrain generation, creating unique and often bizarre landscapes.
Well, it's a great addition for creative players who wanted to experiment with different world types.
It's like they were giving players the tools to create their own little pocket universes.
Exactly.
And of course, alongside all these major changes, they were constantly squashing bugs and improving performance,
Always working behind the scenes.
making sure the game was ready for prime time.
Right.
But then comes 18W19A, and, well, it throws a bit of a wrench in the works.
Uh-oh, what happened?
The world generation changes in the snapshot actually broke compatibility with older worlds.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was a bit of a setback.
That's a shame.
But thankfully, they addressed that issue in the very next snapshot, 18W19B.
Phew.
But this snapshot wasn't just about fixing things. It also introduced a couple of cool new features.
Well, we got sinking undead mobs, which added a touch of spooky realism to the ocean.
I can imagine.
And we also got underwater rideable skeleton horses.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun surprise.
So cool.
So before we move on to the pre-releases, is there anything from this mid-development phase that really stands out to you?
You know what's really remarkable is how the developers managed to balance innovation with refinement. Like they were introducing these groundbreaking new features like dolphins and conduits.
Right.
But they were also constantly tweaking and improving the core mechanics of the game.
It's like they were conducting an orchestra,
Yeah.
making sure each instrument was playing in harmony to create this symphony of gameplay.
I like that analogy.
So are you ready to see how they fine-tuned everything in the pre-releases?
Absolutely. Let's go. I can't wait to see how it all comes together.
Welcome back. It feels like we've been on this incredible journey, you know?
It has been quite a voyage, hasn't it?
Charting the course of the Update Aquatic, watching it evolve
From those early snapshots.
through like waves of new features.
And now we're finally here.
About to dock at the official 1.33 release.
I'm excited to see how all those pieces we've been looking at, those snippets of code,
Yeah.
come together into like the complete picture.
You know, going through these patch notes, it's like we're time travelers or something.
I know what you mean.
We get to experience that anticipation and excitement that built up to this release.
And there's always that element of mystery, too, with an official release, right?
Oh, for sure.
Even after we've gone through every snapshot and pre-release,
Yeah.
you never know what final tweaks the developers might have snuck in.
Okay. I confess I'm a little nervous to see what's in store.
Me too.
But mostly excited. What about you? What aspects of the official release are you most curious about?
Well, from a technical standpoint,
Mhm.
I'm really interested to see how those performance optimizations play out in the real world.
Right, because this update wasn't just about adding content.
No, it wasn't.
It was about making the ocean feel completely different.
More complex,
Oh.
more dynamic.
Which means more strain on the game engine.
Exactly. They were walking a tightrope.
Trying to deliver this amazing new experience without sacrificing performance.
And then, of course, there's the player reaction.
Oh, yeah, that's the real test.
You can do all the testing in the world, but you never really know how an update's going to be received.
Until it's out there in the wild.
It's like releasing a creature into a new environment.
I like that.
You can study it in the lab, but you don't really know how it's going to behave until it's interacting with everything around it.
So in this case, the Update Aquatic is the creature,
Yes.
and the incredibly diverse and creative Minecraft community is the environment.
Precisely.
So what happened? Did players dive right in and embrace the new ocean?
They did, for the most part.
Were there any unexpected challenges?
Well, there were a few bumps along the way, of course.
I bet.
But overall, I think the update was really well received.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, it really did transform the ocean into a much more interesting and engaging space.
So looking back, what lasting impact did the Update Aquatic have on the world of Minecraft?
Well, I think it fundamentally changed how players viewed the ocean.
In what way?
Before the update, the ocean was largely ignored, you know?
Yeah, it was just a big empty space that you had to cross to get to the real action.
Exactly. But this update made the ocean the action.
It became a destination in its own right.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that had a ripple effect on the rest of the game.
How so?
Well, it encouraged players to explore more, to experiment with new building techniques, to think outside the box.
It's not just about the ocean itself. It's
Yeah.
about the ripple effect it had on the entire Minecraft experience.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And to think it all started with these patch notes we've been looking at.
It's a testament to the power of incremental change. You know,
Yeah.
each one of these individual tweaks, bug fixes new features.
Yeah.
When you combine them, they create something truly special. So we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We've seen how the ocean became a more inviting and vibrant space. But did it also become a more daunting place?
With new challenges and new dangers.
What do you think?
Share your thoughts with us. We'd love to hear your perspective.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the Update Aquatic.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been an amazing journey.
We've learned so much.
And we hope you have too.
Until next time, happy mining, everyone.